Trust in a stranger is a complex and delicate matter. While it is generally prudent to exercise caution when interacting with someone unknown, there are instances where trusting a stranger can lead to positive outcomes. Trust is fundamentally built on a foundation of mutual understanding, transparency, and reliability, and these principles can be applied to interactions with strangers as well. In certain situations, such as seeking help in an unfamiliar place or engaging in a collaborative project, trust in a stranger becomes necessary. It requires assessing their credibility, observing their behavior, and relying on intuition to make an informed judgment. It is important to listen to one's instincts and be aware of potential risks, but it is also crucial to approach interactions with an open mind. Trust in a stranger can foster new connections, encourage empathy, and provide opportunities for personal growth. It enables us to expand our horizons, learn from diverse perspectives, and form meaningful relationships. While not every stranger may be trustworthy, assuming that everyone is untrustworthy can lead to missed opportunities and a limited worldview. However, it is essential to strike a balance between trust and caution. Sharing personal information, engaging in financial transactions, or entering vulnerable situations should be approached with greater scrutiny. By using common sense, establishing boundaries, and seeking verification when needed, one can navigate interactions with strangers more confidently. One of the toughest things about being a dad is letting go. In all these years, I've learned a great deal about sacrifice, patience, and fear. It's been worth every single second. 5-year-old Emma disappeared every day at the same time. Then her father decided to follow her. And when he found out the truth, he took action. Check it out. When he discovers the amazing truth and sees who is with Visit every night, he starts crying and immediately calls the police. Then he calls a local news channel. He can't understand how his daughter was able to do this without figure where she goes for so long. If my wife and I had discovered it before, we would have intervened before. It was the 4th day that Tom found his daughter's room empty, always at the same time, between 6 and 7 p.m. Emma hardly ever stayed away from home for more than an hour. She usually played in the backyard garden, but for several nights she had been hanging out, so her father started to worry. When Tom asked his daughter what was going on, Emma was silent without explanation. She was just saying she had to get out. But Tom had to know what was going on. Where did his daughter go every night? He realized that he didn't get any answer from his daughter, so Tom decided to investigate on his own. On the 5th day, when Emma snuck out of the house right after dinner, Tom rushed out to search her room. He was determined to know the truth. He sped up the stairs and immediately opened the closet wide. Clothes were scattered throughout the room and toys were everywhere. He searched and searched, but found nothing. Until he saw a piece of paper under the pillow. What could that mysterious note say? Tom pushed back the pillow, picked up the note, and began to read. Come to the house behind your patio at 6:30 sharp. Make sure you come alone. What the fuck was going on? Why would your daughter have to appear alone for several days? And who was the sender of this strange message? There was only one thing to do. He had to follow his daughter. It was the 6th day, and Tom was ready. He was waiting impatiently in his room with the door ajar. This way, he could keep an eye on little Emma. If she leaves suddenly, I'll follow her closely, he heard himself speaking out loud. The clock struck 6 p.m., and his thoughts distracted him. His daughter had disappeared. She was no longer there. Tom ran to the back door just in time, because he saw Emma disappear behind the trees next her house. When Tom got to the forest, he lost sight of Emma, but he already knew the house where he can find her because it was noted on the piece of paper, so reaching his daughter was not very difficult. The 5-hectare farm, where Tom lived with his family, inherited by his relatives for almost 100 years, and the mysterious house used to be the home of his grandparents. No one had lived in that house for more than 50 years, but when Tom arrived, he felt an intense fear like never in his life. Someone was waiting on the balcony. Tom hid behind a tree and decided to wait for his daughter there. What was Emma doing there? Her concerned father was thinking. He didn't have to wait much, because after a few minutes, Emma was on the other side of the field. She knocked hard on the door with her little fist, and instantly the mysterious person disappeared from the balcony. The door opened and Emma entered. Who was this mysterious person? What were they doing inside the house? And most importantly, what are they doing with Emma? Tom acted immediately. He had the key to the old building and quietly opened the back door. Slowly but surely he entered the room where he heard his daughter speak to the stranger. It was clearly a woman's voice. Tom was outside the room and tried to take a look at what was going on inside. They looked busy. Tom heard several footsteps, but not only from his daughter and the mysterious woman. And suddenly Emma opened the door. Tom hid behind the door before his daughter ran out of the room. He left that place and would probably go back home, Tom thought. In that moment, she was able to follow her daughter. But first she had to find out why this woman was so special to her. He opened the door and was stunned when he saw what was inside the room. There were more than 20 dogs, and in the corner sat the woman I was looking for. What happening? The woman was very scared and tried to run away, but Tom stopped her. The woman, who looked confused, burst into tears and sat back in her chair. She took a deep breath and explained her sad story to Tom. If my wife and I had discovered it earlier, we would have intervened as soon as possible, Tom later told the media. The woman was an old woman and had watched her friends and family die over the years. She was alone and lived in a nursing home near Emma's school. For more than a year, the woman was living on the streets with all her stray dogs. She was very malnourished until she met little Emma. The dogs were all the family she had, but in a very short time, they had many puppies. For the past week, Emma had been visiting the old woman and the dogs every day. She played with them and makes sure that they were okay. You're not in trouble, honey, but please don't keep any more secrets from me, okay? His worries that day turned into immense admiration and pride for his little girl. He told the story to his wife, and Emma's parents did something amazing. Emma's family decided to help the old woman named Linda and her dogs. Linda could now live in the house without paying anything, and from then on she would have enough food for herself and her dogs. Right now Linda, Emma, and their parents are taking care of about 40 stray dogs. 15 of them have already been adopted. Emma receives beautiful photos and letters from the happy owners, and all thanks to the bravery little 5-year-old girl.